Here's Chelsea Clark. She's a very good friend of mine, and she has her own guitar shop in Los Angeles called Guitars and Caffeine. But she got her start in my shop a long time ago.
And every time I'm in town to visit my parents, I make sure to stop by your shop because you always have some really cool stuff going on.
Most of the time I try. Today we have this 25-year-old guitar kit from StewMac. Was a herringbone dreadnought that a buddy of mine made, and he had put the strap button in the heel and ended up not liking that. So he brought it in last week and asked me to put a new heel cap on and move it. Instead, I just drilled a hole in the heel cap, cut a plug of some ivoroid with this plug cutter that comes in the guitar screw rescue kit, glued it in with solvent glue, chiseled it flush, and filed it with the razor file, and did all that in about a half an hour. Now we're ready to put a finish on it.
Boy, you really did a good job, but it doesn't match the binding yet.
No, it's because the binding, you know, is yellow's over 25 years, and this is fresh plastic again. Little chips like this you can drop fill with a brush or a toothpick and lay color or lacquer into it, and it'll melt out.
But not this.
But this is a flat white area that would get very streaky.
Streaky,
and yellow.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, at my shop, we actually use a trick.
Okay, I know you do. You're dying to show it.
Yeah, I am. What I've done is started using a lacquer-based Waterslide logo paper. This allows me to spray the colored lacquer on top of this and slide it off. What you get is a really thin sheet of lacquer.
This is lacquer on the sheet when you get it, right?
Yeah, it's a film of lacquer.
And you're spraying color on it that makes it a little thicker.
Yeah, just a tiny bit thicker, but at the end it always measures to about 1.5 thousandths of an inch. So you're not adding a lot of bulk.
And this to me is like what I had as a kid, decals that would slide off and go on the model.
Exactly. Check this out.
You go, girl.
It's
good.
It's pretty close. But I think we can dial the color in with mixing some vintage amber and a little bit more lemon yellow. You want to go mix some colors?
Mm-hmm. Shake it up, baby.
Using this vintage amber, I'm going to start at the corner and I'm going to burst out so it's lighter in the middle. That'll allow for an overlap of colors, giving me more options of hues. I've also put this nozzle on that allows me to change the shooting pattern to vertical or horizontal, which is really cool when you're trying to do a burst. Here we go. This is perfect. This is exactly what I want because we're going to flip it over and add a different color. After that vintage amber, I'm going to need some lemon yellow, and it doesn't come in aerosol form, so I'm going to have to make my own. And I'm going to use the Preval sprayer to do this. I've mixed a few drops of the lemon yellow into some lacquer, but it's a little too thick, so I've put in some lacquer reducer.
My cousin David sprayed his whole car with the Preval.
Really?
Back in the 60s, I'm serious. He had a little Volvo and he sprayed the entire car.
How many of these Prevals did it take?
I don't remember. That took a week or more.
Now we're going to use the lemon yellow. Same idea, but we're going to start the opposite corner and fade it out. You'll want an overlap of 1 to 2 inches just so you have a really nice rainbow of yellow to choose from. Now that it's dry, we can color match the binding. I'm liking that right there. What do you think?
You're the boss. That's good.
You get a knife? Okay, we're just gonna float this little square that we've cut out and color matched into this hot water. You'll wanna wet the tips of your fingers a little bit. What's gonna happen is you'll see the edge of the lacquer peeling up, maybe few air bubbles. You're gonna take the needle nose pliers, because this is hot water, and gently pull the sheet back up. Because what you're gonna do now is just slide the lacquer off. Now, if you notice that there's a wrinkle or something in your lacquer, that's all right. Just wet your fingers and pull it taut. And I'm gonna gently lay this down. I like to let these little pieces air dry anyways. So we'll come back in about, 5 minutes and it'll be dry.
Cool.
All right, here's the exciting part. I'm gonna add a little bit of retarder thinner, tiny bit, you're not gonna need a lot. Here's a cap.
Retarder thinner is a hotter thinner than lacquer thinner. It takes longer to dry, so it's going to soften this film of lacquer more than thinner would, right?
Yep, absolutely. It's going to be a really thin coat and it's going to be fast. You don't want a lot. You want the clear side down, and the part that you sprayed up, line it up and it melts in. And we're going to walk away. Now this might take 30 minutes to an hour to dry, but you want to make sure it's dry. It depends on the humidity and the climate and where you're at. So keep that in mind. Check this out.
It's good.
It turned out really good, didn't it? Now, did you leave the original lacquer on the edges?
That's all. I only took the color off the top.
Okay, so what I would usually do is just cut around and leave a tiny bit of room.
A new heel cap.
Yeah, if it was a new heel cap, just so it would wrap around the edges. But with this, I'm actually just going to trim straight to the heel cap itself. And you might be able to just pull some of this off. Since I'm not wrapping the lacquer, I gotta melt this little edge in so it's smooth. I'm just gonna put a really thin coat of lacquer on here to shine everything up and seal everything in. It's almost like painting nails.
Look, from here to there, look at that.
Yeah, it
That's
really turned out
good.
well, right?
I'm thrilled. So we thank you, Miss Chelsea Clark from Los Angeles, California, for that great trade secret.
Well, thank you, Dan.
You're welcome.